it is the, we say here, the procedure for a valid syllogism. How we know a syllogism is valid? Well, you will have to, it is one of the questions of the examination. I always ask that. No? I give you 2, 3, 4, 5 syllogisms and ask you, tell me if they are valid or invalid. And if they are invalid, give me the reason why they are invalid. Okay? So, when you have to criticize a syllogism, the first thing is to go to the conclusion. First, go to the conclusion. For example, all flowers are blossom. Are blossom, we say?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blossoming.
Blossom?
Blossoming, blooming.
No, blooming. They are already done. They are open
Oh, already.
already.
Blossom.
Blossom, like that. Huh? Yeah.
Blossom, yeah.
Tulip are flowers. Common sense, you know? Therefore, sometimes the symbol is that here, 3 dots. Huh? Therefore, tulip are blossom, who are not blossom, depending. Okay. Well, first, go to the conclusion and identify the subject, tulip, identify the predicate. That is not difficult. If there is negative, you must add one negation here. Okay? So you identify tulip, subject, blossom, predicate. And after, identify what? The middle term. So that's the first step to do. Identify the terms. Huh? And sometimes, be careful, sometimes the prepositions are not in the same order. So what indicate you the major, it is the predicate, huh? The predicate, okay. Now you have to look at the quality. So if one of the 2 propositions is negative, you must have a negative here. Huh? And you verify also, secondly, the extension of the term, the extension. For example, all flower, what is the extension here? It is all distributed, huh? It is 8. Huh? Okay, here are blossom. Blossom, what is the extension of blossom? The predicate of an affirmative proposition is always undistributed. Tulip, well, here, suppose tulip, all the tulip. Huh? So you're distributed. And flower, what is the extension of flower here? The verb is affirmative, the predicate is undistributed. Huh? Undistributed. So here, tulip distributed, and blossom undistributed. And after that, we check if, first the middle term, go to the middle term. The middle term must be at least once universal. At least one distributed. Huh? One distributed. Okay? Secondly, the term in the conclusion must not have more extension than in the premises. So here, subject is distributed. Okay. Here, the predicate is undistributed. Here, undistributed. Okay. That is valid. You know? He obeyed the law. So you have to apply the law. Huh? Okay? Most of the time, the mistakes are especially in the middle term and in the extension here of the term. Many times, the conclusion, in the conclusion, the predicate sometimes are more extension than here. So it's not difficult. Huh? And you gave you some exercises, I think, huh? And you have the correct answer, I think also. Okay? But that is for the study of the categorical syllogism. Okay? Now we pass to, yes?
Sorry, in the minor, if we're drawing a Euler circle of the minor,
Yes.
I don't see how the middle term can be.
Okay, okay. So here we have all the things that have blossomed. Huh? All things blossom. Among the things blossom, you have flowers. And among flowers, you have tulip. So the subject, the middle term, and the predicate.
Yeah, it's still part of.
Part of. You know, the tulip are part of the flower, and the flower are part of the
The
blossom.
population of blossom.
In fact, if we want to write that in I will say, let me say, you know, in a way that we can see at first sight, we should write here flower here, middle term here, blossom here, and tulip here, and flower here. You know? And now you see very well that it is the middle here. Huh? Okay?
Yes.
Yes, not that.
Oh, I got it.
No, that's because I said, no, okay. Okay, let us go to next chapter. You can refer to the book of Sister Spangler, but I apologize. You don't have the note, no? Nobody. Next time, Father, tell me that, you know.
And we stopped at 10.
Okay. I am very surprised that we are already at the end. Yes, I'm very surprised. I don't realize. No, it's not a joke, it's true. It's true, that frightened me. You know, we have to assimilate a lot of things, huh? But I will not ask you tricky questions. I will try to ask questions reasonable.
How come I don't believe you?
You know what, I was studying chemistry, physics. One of my teachers, he was a giant, and his hand was more than double of my hand. You know, he was a railway farmer. So he said in the experience, you know, you take a tube, the size of my finger. See, no, the size of a finger. Say, which one, yours or not? Because he has big hand. Sometimes when I get a communion in parishes, I have distraction because I see huge hand of worker, you know. Your hand or my hand. Okay. Now, hypothetical. What is the word? Hypothesis means supposition. Huh? Supposition. It is a Greek word to say exactly the same thing as supposition. Hypothesis. Thesis in Greek, thestein, it is to put. Hypo or sup under. Here it's sub. Supposition under. It's exactly the same thing. So hypothetical syllogism or suppositional is the same thing, you know, but it is more better to say hypothetical. Okay? If you say it is a hypothesis, oh, if you say a supposition, oh, the word, no? What is the definition? The hypothetical syllogism is defined as the preliminary syllogism in which the major premise is cast in a conditional form. Huh? A conditional form. Well, the classic example, it stated as a classic example is if Paul works, if Paul works, then he exists. I repeat Paul, huh? Paul exists. Well, if Paul works, that is the condition. Huh? A condition. The other is the condition de. We call that also here the antecedent and the consequent. Be careful, the consequent, not the consequence. I think I will correct that before you receive. There is a mistake in the text. Okay. So if Paul works, that is the condition, that is the antecedent. Or we say sometimes that is the cause. He works, Paul works. Therefore, Paul exists. No. I will work with that because if you understand that, you understand all the rest. Sometimes that seems complicated, but you have to refer all the time to a simple example. That is a simple example. Okay? So if Paul works, we call that P. So we say, if P, and you have a symbol for them, that here, then Q. Q here exists. So if then, that is the characteristic of a hypothetical syllogism. If condition, then. Or the antecedent, or also the cause and the effect of that. Not the effect material, but if we affirm something, the consequence, the cause, the effect will be he exists. If he works, and I can say that the fact he works prove that he exists. So if P, then Q. But P, then if I affirm P, what I affirm to Q, then Q. I affirm Q. We call that ponens. And then when I affirm the condition, I affirm the condition de. When I affirm the cause, I affirm. No, it's not exactly that. Okay. When I affirm the antecedent, I affirm the consequence. Okay? Now, that is there is four possibilities, no? Paul works, then he exists. Paul works. Okay. I can say also, if Paul works, then he exists, but he exists. Paul exists. Therefore,
Paul works.
He works.
He could
work.
No.
do you exist? Do you work?
Yes.
But can I say, because you exist, you work?
No.
No. Interesting. Because if you say Paul exists, can you conclude that he works? No. We don't know. So that is invalid. That is valid. That means if I affirm the cause, I affirm the effect. If I know the effect, I don't know the cause. It can be, it can work. It can also not work. I don't know. Two possibilities. So, so I can say here, if I affirming the condition, the consequence, the effect, is not affirming the cause. And that is excessively important when we study philosophy of God. Why? How can we know the existence of God? Through the effects. We see the moon, we see the sun, we see the asters, we see the effect creation. Can we conclude directly from the creation there is a creator? No. Ah, scandalize you, huh? Why? Because we cannot start from the effect to know directly the cause. Good common sense. A detective arrives in the house, he sees a person laying in her blood or in his blood. You know, he sees the effect. From the effect, can he see the cause? No. He has to use all the possibilities. Huh? He must find all the possibilities. Finally, he will arrive. So the knowledge of the effect does not give directly, surely, the cause. So that is, we must be very merciful for those who don't believe in God because of that. Sometimes we are very tough for them. Very tough. Because we say, I see the effect, therefore God exists. If you say that, you are not a good logician. You don't respect the law of logic. Because there is many possibilities. And someone, they take one of a possibility that is not ours. So we have to prove that, and it is, when we study philosophy of God, we study the proof of St. Thomas, 5 proof of Kant, many proof, to justify that indeed God created the world. But we cannot start from the effect to go to the cause. Unfortunately, many times in our life we are inclined to do that. We see an effect, we see, it is my husband, it's my wife, it's my child, it's my dog. We cannot affirm as long as you don't have a proof. Here, it's not necessary to prove. Why? Because here it is a deduction. You deduce from. Here it is an induction. And in induction you have to verify, to have many proof. You know? Otherwise it will be very easy. The policeman arrives, we see a dead body. I know, Mr. X. No. That take years and years and years, sometimes they never find it. No. Okay, I continue. So that is the second possibility. Now, here I opponent, but I can deny also. So if P, if Paul, if P, then Q, if Paul works, but Paul does not work. Paul does not work. Paul does not work. In fact, the symbol is that here. Paul does not work. What happened to Q? Can I conclude that Paul does exist or does not exist?
From that premise, no.
We don't know. It is not because he does not something that he will do another thing. No? It is not because you don't eat steak that you don't eat I don't know, chicken. No? We don't know. Maybe not. So here we have many possibilities. Huh? And finally, the 4 possibilities, if P, if Paul works, then he exists. And Paul does not exist. Therefore, it does not work. That is tolerance. Tolerance. We take off from Paul his existence, capacity of working. So we have only 2 valid and 2 invalid. That is classical logic. In mathematical logic, modern logic, we say here, okay, if P, then Q, and we say P, therefore we have, if we have P, we have Q. That means here I affirm P, I affirm Q. That's here. Here, they will say, if I deny, excuse me, now if I affirm P, excuse me, I affirm Q, Both are possible, P or non-P. We say, we don't know. Unknown, we don't know. Unknown. That is, but in mathematics, the two possibilities are valid. That means it can exist or it cannot exist. Both are valid. In mathematics, there is no truth. There is no truth in mathematics because there is no direct relation to the reality. We are in the domain of pure abstraction. Of course, if I see 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes, that's different. 2 plus 3 equals 5, that is. So it is valid or invalid. Or if you want a formal truth of mathematics, but there is no link with the reality. Okay? It's the same here. For model, if you have film Q, therefore you have P or non-P. Now you deny P, if you deny P for modern mathematics, logic, you have Q or non-Q. Sometimes or is presented by that sign here, Q or non-Q. That means 2 possibilities. It can exist or it cannot exist. And finally, you have the last one here. If you affirm, if you deny Q, so if you deny Q, you deny P. So, but for us as a scholastic philosopher, a disciple of Aristotle, we say there is only 2 possibilities. The other are unknown. The first possibility, ponens, we affirm P, we affirm the condition, or tollens, we deny the condition D, or we deny the effect. If we deny the effect, of course, we deny the cause. But it is not because I affirm the effect that I affirm the cause. Everything is here. In fact, only 2 possibilities. I affirm the condition. Paul works, therefore he exists. Paul does not exist, therefore he does not work. The rest is unknown. Okay? So, yes. I have another, before that I forgot something, before that talking about, it is we call the disjunctive syllogism, disjunctive, that means it is yes or no, black or non-black, white or non-white, day or night, day or not day, etc. That means when you have a major, which is a disjunctive, either you are living or not living. Either you are sleeping or not sleeping. That is a disjunctive. If you say either you are a Catholic or a Protestant, is it a good disjunction? No, because you can be a Muslim, you can be an atheist. So the disjunction must be complete. That is common sense, not difficult. It's not difficult. So if I say, either you are a Catholic or non-Catholic, you saw that, and the best division is by none, contradictory. Okay, that is the measure. You are a Catholic. Therefore, you are not a non-Catholic. Therefore, you are a Catholic. You are not a non-Catholic. That is we call disjunctive. That is important because when you study what is a dilemma, and the condition for a dilemma, the major must be a good disjunction. If I have a third possibility, for example, you can say you are a Catholic or a Protestant or an Orthodox. No, we have to have a clear disjunction. Okay, complete enumeration. It's not difficult. I don't understand why I put on my paper. Ah, the war here. I was, not tonight, I'm very, I'm very excited by, okay, so you have many examples, I give you many examples, but the easiest example thing about Paul, if Paul works, he exists. Therefore he works, excuse me, he works, therefore he exists. Paul does not work, we can say nothing, but God does not exist, cannot work. So every problem you will have in conditional, think about that example, I guarantee you will be okay. Because what is important is to identify P and Q. P is the condition, Q is the condition done. P is the antecedent, Q is the consequent. P is the cause, Q is the effect. And when you study philosophy of God, I will speak about that. When I will say, you know, we can not directly know through God through his effects. We cannot affirm that directly from creation we know God. We have to reason, we have to make many proof finally to arrive to affirm that. Otherwise, everybody will know. Because if it was exactly true, it would be an inference, a necessity, an insight, and everybody should say, ah, I see the moon, I see the sun, I see the star, therefore God exists. But it's not like that. It's not like that at all. We have to prove, we have to study God one and trial, we have to study apologetics. And many, after that, many prove, many continue not to believe. You know? Because it's not evident. It is an evidence from a demonstration for reason. And for the Bible, an evidence of faith. We believe because God says that. You know? But that is not philosophy. That is theology. Theology, we believe. Philosophy, we don't believe. When you believe, you are no more a philosopher. You are a theologian. Okay? Now, what is interesting also, we should be able to start from every categorical syllogism and arrive to, start from hypothetical syllogism and arrive to a categorical syllogism. And in fact, it is the way science functions. Science does not affirm categorically the value of the discoveries. They have to verify. And the verification sometimes takes years. Think about aspirin, for example. You have to take a product, 10 years, to experimentation. When they see that not too many people are killed by the pill, they say maybe we can use it. Conclusion. So it is hypothetical. But when they arrive to an absolute certitude, now they can say there is no danger, etc., etc. Now we can use that, and that becomes a categorical syllogism. As long as it is not, it is on the level of experimentation, it is the level of hypothesis. In fact, there is two ways of knowledge, induction and deduction. So induction is based on experimentation, is based on hypothesis. If then, if that product is useful to such a kind of disease, then it is good. And we do the experiment thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And finally, we arrive to a certitude. And now, when you are a certitude, we have a generalized law. Aspirin is good for headache. And after that, we apply that to, it is what the physician does in his office. The pharmacist, they work here. They make experimentation. And when the Federal Bureau of, I don't know, FDA, PDA,
Food and drug.
Food and Drug, approve, it is a general principle. We can affirm that today, that medication is good for such a disease. Okay? And the doctor in his office, he sees the person has a symptom, he thinks, I think I will apply that, to that person. So he make a deduction. He start from, in that reasoning of the doctor in his office is a deductive. But the reasoning of the pharmacist, the laboratory are inductive. In our life, we have many times like that. We make some mistake in our life, and from our mistakes, for example, maybe you burn many pies before going a good pie. I'm not sure, Finally, you arrive to the good recipe, and now you apply that. No, you apply that, you say that to all your friends, or your family. Oh, I have good recipe. Everybody, oh, we have to try that. So, induction, if hypothesis, after that, substitute deduction. Okay? In fact, the condition, if the condition in here is verified, it becomes a universal law. Yeah, we can say that now the medication approved, they become universal law. Okay. I give you an example. In 1914, 1907, we have some advertising of heroin. Heroin was proposed as a good medication against flu or against cold. Heroin. But after some exercises, some induction, they say no. But at that time it was advertised on the internet. It's funny to see advertise heroin good for that disease because happy after that. Okay. So now we can transform every hypothetic syllogism into a categorical syllogism. So how we can do that? But there is a trick for that. The condition, the antecedent in the hypothetical syllogism become the subject of the conclusion in the categorical syllogism. So the antecedent become the subject. Okay? And the consequent or the condition, if you want P, become S, and Q, and the consequent become the predicate. If we go to if student work seriously, then they will succeed. Okay? That is Q. That is hypothetical. I can transform that in a categorical syllogism. What can I say? All students succeed. Conclusion, all students will succeed. What will the middle term? Work seriously. So I can say, all those who work seriously will succeed. Student work seriously, therefore student will succeed. So we can transform. In fact, we can start from hypothesis to affirmation, categorical affirmation. It is what we did in science. I saw that about aspirin, for example. We start from hypothesis, and now we arrive to a certitude that it is a good medication, and that endure for years and years and years. Okay. Bon. So we have some example here. If these seminarians are called by their bishop, they will be ordained. They are called by the bishop, they will be ordained. That is hypothetical. Now if I say, All those called by the bishop will be ordained. Those seminarians are called by the bishop, therefore they will be ordained. So in what case it is conditional, in the other case is categorical. We affirm without condition. But an hypothesis can pass from the stage of hypothesis to the stage of certitude. For example, people cook meat. That today, when you cook meat, in fact, you use a categorical syllogism. It is a universal principle not in every nation that it is necessary to cook meat or the majority of meat, etc. For problem, or wash your hands. Again, John, you are a capitalist or a communist. You are a good Catholic or an anti-Catholic. You wash your hands. It's a universal principle. Okay, and now you apply that. But to arrive to that, that takes centuries. That takes millions of years. Don't forget one of the greatest inventions of the human mind, mankind, is the discovery of fire. You have a movie on that. I remember that in the 80s, a movie, The Discovery of Fire. Beautiful movie, very interesting. That makes discovering fire was obtained through experimentation. Finally, they discovered how to produce fire. And now, fire, they use that to cook meat. And that, we are the heirs of thousands and thousands and thousands of years of experience. Sometimes we forget that. We think the world began at our birth. The discovery of soap, the discovery of pure water. Pasteur discovered the necessity of pasteurizing of boiling thing to keep the churn water. It's recent, only 150 years. But now, that what was experimental hypothesis, now it is a certitude. And now we can make as a principle, before cooking, before bringing, in Cameroon, for example, boil your water or purify your water. That now I have to use that. I purify my water. I pass that to a filter, etc. Continually, we apply the discovery of our ancestors. What is that?
Bible.
It was a great invention. One of the great inventions was the discovery of the wheel. And now everybody has tires in his car. And we don't think that took centuries, thousands of years before discovery. Even some country, even now, they don't use wheel. I know some tribe in Africa, they don't know the wheel. And they continue to haul thin on piece of wood. They are not yet arrived to the discovery of the wheel. That is true what I tell you. That means we apply continually general principle, universal principle, now in a categorical way, but at the beginning they were only hypothetical. They were on experimentation. Okay. Okay, so now the necessity of the cause of effect. So we saw deduction, ponens, deduction, tollens, induction, and the two way. For example, if Paul works, he exists. From I deduce from the fact he worked, I deduce a truth, he exists. But I say he exists, he works, excuse me, he exists, I cannot deduce he works. We saw that. So we say ponens, but we can say he does not exist. Therefore, it does not work. Tolerance. That is only what we can affirm in hypothetical syllogism. We can affirm only ponens, deduction, and tolerance, induction. We cannot start from the effect to the cause. But we can start from the absence of effect to the absence of cause. If Paul does not exist, it does not work. So, there is no effect, there is no cause. It's common sense, no? Okay. Now, the necessity now in the syllogism. The necessity can be a conventional necessity or natural necessity. For example, your mother told you, if you eat your soup, you will have dessert. Or we go to Dairy Queen. That is conventional. Huh? But if you eat, you will continue to live. That is not conventional. That is natural. Huh? Okay. So we have two kinds of convention. Condition can be imposed by man. For example, if you are 18 years old, plus 1 day, you can buy a car. Okay, you can get married by yourself without the permission of your parents. That is conventional. Okay. But if you are blind, you cannot see. You cannot drive a car. You know, if you are blind, you have no sight, you cannot see. That is natural. That is necessary. It's not pure convention. If you don't breathe, you will die. You know, we have many hypotheses that are not conventional. We have no choice, but they are hypothetical. Huh? But I will not insist on that. And we have a page on the. I will read that, but I will come back on that in the next class about a syllogism. What is a syllogism? It's a demonstration. Huh? It is a demonstration, and we can demonstrate that of two ways. We can demonstrate by starting from the cause to the effect, huh? From the cause to the effect, or from the essence to the property or activity. For example, man is intelligent, because of that he can laugh, he can read, he can think, he can talk, etc. Well, that is a demonstration through deduction. When we know very well the nature of a thing, we can deduce the property of the thing, for example. Okay? Well, we go from cause to effect, or cause to property, essence to property. We deduce. That means we think about the nature of the thing, and knowing the nature of the thing, we can deduce what it can do with that. No? Now, the other is induction. The other kind of demonstration. All that is demonstration. Because what is reasoning? Reasoning is to demonstrate. No? It's a discourse for demonstrate. We can demonstrate from a general principle, no? From a general principle to application. For example, fire, a meat must be cooked. That is a general principle. No, I bought 2 steaks. Huh? So I have to apply the general principle. I must cook my steak. Okay. Now, in the induction, it is the contrary. We start from the effects, and we know we go to the cause. We start from the properties, or we go to the essence, or to the nature of the thing, huh? Or the activities of the thing, to the nature of the thing. Here we start from the nature of the thing to its activity. In fact, what is the definition of nature? It is the essence as principle of activity. So here, from the activity, I conclude to the nature. If I see a boy able to say something coherent, I say that boy is intelligent, is normal. If the boy at the age of 10 cannot say a coherent sentence, that means he's not normal. You know? I know the nature, the essence of the thing through this effect. It is the necessary evil of examination. I know if students understand from the effect. What are the effects? The answers. So from the answers, I can conclude they understand or they don't understand. You know? You can say your wife is a good cook. How can you say you have a good cook when you look at a picture? Oh yes, it's a good. Now when you go to take a meal, and you invited your father and your mother, so that it's something with that the mother-in-law and the father-in-law of your wife can verify if she is a good cook, if she is better or less than the mother-in-law. You prove that through effect. That is induction. Induction. We pass from the effect to the cause. And that is based on experimentation. Here we start from P to Q. Here we start from Q to P. The induction. But induction can, when the induction is verified, can transform the induction into deduction. It can create a law. A law by nature is universal. We don't make a law for us. You know, that is the big error, for example, of gay marriage. For me, it's a privilege. It's not a law. A law must be for universal. In grammar, you have a law, but you can have exception. We say the exception confirms the law. We don't make a law for a few cases. That is not logic. The law is for, by nature, a law is for universal. Exceptions are for particular. For example, in the time of the Roman, they say, everybody must adore the god of the cities. It was a universal law, except the Jews, because the Jews, they bring a lot of money to this empire, Roman Empire, so they respected the Jews. But they did not make a law for the Jews. They make an exception. A law is by nature universal. I don't understand why we make a law for exception. Well, that is my point of view as a philosopher. Okay, and now I go to the different kind of syllogism you have. Yeah, I'm completely lost. I should have a secretary. It's not out there in my document. I have to find that. Oh yes, okay. You know, when I am talking with you, I am mixing everything. Yes. Okay. But we have a first kind of syllogism. You will see that in it. It is we call the dilemma. A dilemma is a syllogism. What is the character? Dilemma means to own. In Greek, to own. Like if you avoid one own, you will be cut by the other. You know. That means that the major is made in such a way that you affirm one, you deny the other. You are cut with catch-22. You know what is a catch-22? Like in philosophy, we call that a dilemma. Okay? For example, Tertullian, he said, why you, Trajan, do you condemn the Christian? Because you say, if if you don't catch Christian, don't touch them. If you catch Christian, kill them. So you are wrong on both sides. Another example is Jesus when he died. He was buried in the tomb, and his body disappeared. And the soldier, they were guilty. Because if they were awake, they should have stopped the disciple from taking the body of Jesus. If they were sleeping, they are guilty. Anyway, they should be punished. But in fact, they were rewarded. They gave them money to shut their mouth, not to tell the truth. That is a dilemma. And sometimes we say in life, I am in front of a dilemma. But to have a real dilemma, we must have a complete possibility in. That means, I come back what we said just before, it is black or not black. If you have three possibilities, it's no more a dilemma. A dilemma is only two possibilities. Two possibilities.
So, when you said something about God and then Jesus rise from the dead, is that a dilemma? Because no man has ever risen from the dead. So how do you...
No, the dilemma is, the soldier, they were paid by the Jewish authority not to speak about that, because the body of Jesus disappeared.
Right.
Okay? So those soldiers, in fact, they should not have been rewarded. They should have been punished, because they were guilty. Either they were awake or not awake, awake or not awake. If they were awake, how is possible they allowed the disciple to take the body of Jesus? They should intervene, but they did not intervene, therefore they are guilty. If they were sleeping, as they said, were sleeping, they are guilty, because a soldier should not sleep when he was watching. So in both cases, they are to be punished. That is a dilemma. You have one side or on the other side, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. In America, they don't know what the origin of that catch-22. In Latin, we say from Carid in Silla. Carid. And Silla. That is they were in the Mediterranean Sea, close to Sicily. It was a strait passage. And one of the passages, Charybdis, was a whirl. And when the ship arrived there, they were stuck in the whirl. And if they want to avoid that, they crash on the rock. So they have the choice either to disappear in the whirl or to crash against the rock. That is a dilemma. A catch-22.
Sounds like a bad day.
That is a dilemma. Another thing also, we have it is we call epikereima. No, antimim, oh, very important. In fact, antimim, it is the way we talk regularly, antimim. When you say, my son will not go to school today because he is sick, that is an antimim. In fact, most of the time we use antimim. What is that? It is a syllogism whose one proposition is not expressed. In fact, it is the proposition not expressed. Most of the time it is the major, the universal principle. You go to a nurse in your school, you say, oh, I have a big headache. She says, okay, take an aspirin for your headache. She does not express the principle that aspirin is good for headache, but it is on that. I will say 99% of our reasoning are antiming. That means we don't express the three, we don't express the major, but we express the minor in the conclusion. But the major is there. It is here. Huh? Or we express the major and we go directly to the conclusion. It is so obvious that we apply that to a special circumstance. Most of the time, we avoid to express the major. It is, when you will have an exercise of that with Sister Spangler or at the test, if I give you, for example, my son was very happy because I gave him an iPad. Oh. So, all those who receive iPad are happy. My son received iPad, therefore he is happy. But you don't say that. But you know that to give an iPad to a son or a child, that makes some happiness. In fact, it is the reason why you do that. You don't do that to punish him. In every action, we obey a general law. You tie your shoes. No? Do you think it is imprudent to walk with 3 laces? If people don't tie their shoes, they will stumble. They will break their neck, etc. Therefore, I must tie. No. But you apply the principle. It is by prudence that in the morning you apply. And if you are not able to bend, you will ask your great children to do that for you. You know, you have classes. What is the universal principle of classes? Classes are used to correct the vision. Huh? I don't have a good vision, therefore I must put my glasses. But you don't say that. But you obey. So we have to discover what is the principle, which we call that antony. We have also epikerima, or epikerima is a syllogism in which we give one proof. For example, you can say, all men are mortal. Dictators are men because they have to eat like everybody, okay? Or they have to breathe. You give a proof. We call that epikerima. You have that in your book. Huh? So we don't. Now we have another kind of syllogism. We call it polysyllogism. So you put a syllogism, the subject and the predicate. And the predicate here becomes the subject of the second. And the predicate becomes the third one. So we call that a polysyllogism. And I have one here with this folly. It was given by a student. I cannot find my page. Anyway, I know that by heart. All those who drink monk's ale go to heaven. Why? Okay. All those who drink monk ale, they sleep well. All those who sleep well don't commit sin. All those who don't commit sin, they go to heaven. Therefore, all those who drink monk's ale go to heaven. It's a polysyllogism. So you have many kinds of syllogisms. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes in our demonstration we use polysyllogism. We begin to prove something, and the conclusion, we use that for a new syllogism. And the conclusion for a new syllogism. We call that polysyllogism. Many syllogisms. Okay. So you will find, now I don't have time to see with you chapter 13. I will have no question on chapter 13 about Pharisees. But, you know, I will give you the text. Even if it is not in the program, Pharisees. What is a Pharisees? Is the usage of Pharisee, the usage of reasoning to induce people into error, or to lead to error by accident. We have two kind of fallacies. Fallacies of grammar, because we don't master the language, we make mistake, we change the meaning of the syllogism, or by intention, we call it sophism. We try to induce people into error. I give you an example. False induction. We started last week. We cannot start from a particular truth to a universal truth. Look at the advertising now in television. What they do? They interview 2-3%. And everyone is happy with the soap. Everyone is happy with the diet. Everyone is happy. So 2-3. And they say, you know, that is the best. It's a false induction. And to make the difference between probability and certitude. So that chapter is very practical, but you know we are limited in time. Huh? But you can read that by yourself. It's not difficult, and it is not a waste of time. I know some seminarians told me the chapter they liked the most was fallacies, because we are soaked with fallacies. You open the television, look at continually, you can find fallacies, false induction. They start from 2-3 cases and they generalize. You know, there is in the old time sophists. They were rhetoricians paid to tell the truth or not to tell the truth. It was not important. If you pay them well, they can prove anything. And you have that a little bit with a lawyer. There is no lawyer here. No, because, you know, it's so true. A lawyer knows his client is guilty, and he has to prove he is innocent. Huh? That is sophism. That is fallacies. So the fallacies of construction, yeah, the blooper, you will laugh because I gave you pages of blooper, you see? You know, when you write something, for example, the pastor says, next Sunday we will have a tag sale. Bring everything you don't need. Don't forget your husband. Blooper, huh? Blooper, you know that? And you get a whole page, and that is based on a kind of fallacies, but they are not voluntary. And that makes fun. We laugh. When we see that in the other class, they laugh. It's funny. It's funny, equivocal. They are fallacy. But some fallacies are willed. And to induce people into error. And today, mass media, they are specialized in that. They want to make people believe what is the truth. And to make that, they have technique for that. And those techniques, they are fallacies. Okay? So I congratulate you because nobody is slower.
So if I had a question, so fallacy, like when you said like, if you make your bed, you'll get candy. Well, you're not really making a bed. I mean, you know, you're making a bed would mean go make your bed would mean you go construct a bed, right? Would that be a fallacy?
No. A fallacy it is a reasoning inducing into error. Memory is so few. Yeah, when you read the thing, you will see how sometimes we can prove. Well, okay, an example. Finish by that. The fallacy of magister dixit. That means you affirm the value of a thing because somebody spoke about that. You know, that product is very good because Francis, our Pope, used that when he was bishop in Argentina. So that is good. You know, that is in philosophy we're very weak. It's the reason why we cannot. You know, in theology we can use Saint Thomas. In philosophy we cannot use Saint Thomas the same way. In theology, we can use St. Thomas as an authority, as the father of the church. In philosophy, we should not do that. I cannot say that is true because Aristotle said that. If I said that, it is a fallacy. It is a fallacy. What is important is not the person who says the truth, it is what he said. That must be conformed to the reality. It can be St. Thomas, it can be another, you know. Sometimes there is an inclination, even in philosophy, even to quote the Bible. No, the Bible has nothing in philosophy, except to confirm what reason. For example, through reason we can discover God. Through reason. Of course, my faith confirms. No? God said, yes, I exist, I am. You know? But I cannot prove the existence of God using the Holy Scripture. I cannot do that. When I speak about social justice in class, here, I cannot use the teaching of the gospel. I can refer to that. I cannot form I have to form my class on the human nature. All my class is based on human nature. But if I go to the authority, I'm not a philosopher. Today, the students in university, they are very attentive to that. So when we speak on level of reason or the level of faith, it's not the same thing. Okay? So have a good week. And I will send you the class to internet.